Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Kyra. If you're new here, very special welcome to you, and a welcome to you all to my collection series. This is a series I like to do at least once a year just to share with you guys what is lurking around in my makeup drawers. Partially to sort of take stock of what's lurking in my collection, partially to give you guys a chance to see what I have, request videos if there's something you want to see more out of, if you want to see a more dedicated review. All of these videos do contain little teeny tiny bite-sized reviews on the products. I'm including a lot of swatches in these videos as well, so I hope you will enjoy that aspect. I really love filming these videos, and I hope you'll understand that this is in no way, shape, or form me bragging about my makeup, how much I have, what type of makeup that I have. This is just kind of a way to be able to document where my collection is at this point in time, for me to be able to refer back to these videos and see, comparison wise where my collection might be in the future, as well as to be able to refer you guys to these videos if you have any questions about what blushes I might have, swatches on things, miniature reviews like I said. So I hope you guys will enjoy this series as much as I do. There is also some decluttering in these videos, but it's nothing like outrageous. I'm not getting rid of like 30% of my collection or anything like that. Just products that I know that I need to pass on to others or declutter because they're too old for usage. But know that those products either are going to a new home or being recycled or donated and so on. And with all of that said, we're going to go ahead and jump into the current collection video right now. Alright, here we go with the bronzer. This is the current state of the drawer. I think we'll go ahead and start with cream bronzers. Alright, these are all of my cream bronzers, and I can already tell you right now I'm not going to get rid of any, but I am going to swatch them all for you. So I hope you enjoy that. This is the Huda Beauty Tantour Contour and Bronzer Cream. I have mine in the shade Fair. This is a matte cream bronzer, and I really love the formula on this one. It says fair, but I assure you it is plenty dark for probably anyone from fair to medium skin tones. Next, let's go ahead and do this little guy that's rolling around here. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Contour Crayon. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Makeup Stick in the Contour, and this is the shade Wears Walnut. Next, the newest cream bronzer to my collection is this one from Soul Body. This is the Face and Body Bronzing Balm in the shade Medium. And this is really nice. I really like this one. It's very creamy, very easy to blend, and all of that good stuff. Then we have the Fenty cream bronzer. This is the Cheeks Out Freestyle bronzer, cream bronzer in the shade Butta Biscuit. And this is probably one of my favorite shades of cream bronzer that I have. It's not too warm, and it's just the right tone, which makes it super duper easy to work with. Apologies, hopefully this is a little better lighting. I also recalled that I forgot to pull this one in, so we'll do this one next. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour Wand in the shade Fair Medium. Whoop. Clearly had plenty of product in the little puff here. This is really nice. when it's blended out, it appears much more warm tone. So that's something to keep in mind. Next, we'll go ahead and swatch the Tower 28 Bronzino bronzer. This is in the shade West Coast. And this is the one that I have the least amount of experience with. It's very shimmery, and I kind of picked it up at the end of summer, so I didn't really get a lot of time to play with it while smoothing and all of those things. So this is the one I probably know the least about. And then lastly, the one that won the cake when I did my Witch Cream bronzer is Right For You video is the Tarte Sea Breezy cream bronzer, and I love the shade. It has a little bit of a rosy undertone. It applies so easily, blends out before you know it, and it's just a really nice little cream bronzer. This is the mini, which actually has almost more product in it than the Fenty cream. Just putting that out there. It is in the shade Seychelles. So all in all, I have 7 cream bronzers that are all staying in my collection. Next, I'm just going to go ahead and pull in my affordable bronzers. That worked out pretty well. So here are these 8 bronzers. I'm not going to show you this one on camera because I do have some progress for my 21 pans in 2021, but I will swatch it for you. This is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It in the shade Light. One of my all-time favorite bronzers in my collection, affordable, high-end, or otherwise. Definitely keeping that one. Next, this is the Wet n Wild Color Icon bronzer in the shade Sunset Striptease. This is a newer bronzer to my collection, but I'm actually really enjoying the formula. It is also luminous like the L'Oreal bronzer, but it's a little warmer, and I don't know, it's really nice. It's kind of lightweight and very blendable. And then we have my oldest, and if you want to know, my very first bronzer in my collection, which is the number 7 Match Made bronzer in the shade Caramel. You can see here I have a really nice amount of pan on this. I am thinking about trying to finish this up completely this year, just because it is the oldest one in my collection, but it is such a beautiful formula. It would probably be another one that I would want to possibly repurchase in the future. And then one of the newer affordable bronzers in my collection is this one from Revlon. It's the Revlon Skin Lights Prismatic bronzer in the shade 115 Sunkissed Beam. And this is actually really nice as well. It's very smooth, very silky. It's kind of like an Hourglass blush, and then it has that luminosity to the product and on the skin, but no visible signs of shimmer. Next is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I have mine in the shade Bronzer. This is a repurchase. I originally had one of the darker shades, and it just really didn't work for me. It was so super duper warm, and so I ended up decluttering that one and then purchasing this one. And I really like this bronzer. I like the formula. I like the way it looks on my skin, but I'm not a big fan of the brand. Fortunately, however, this packaging is not broken like my old one. Next is kind of a newer favorite for me. It's the Milani Silky Matte Bronzer. I have the shade 02 Sunkissed, and I really, really like the formula of this. I like that this one is not quite as warm as some of these others here, and so it's really nice for that as well when I'm a little bit more pale and want a little bit something more on the neutral side of things, or not just quite so warm. So I'm definitely keeping this one. Next is also a repurchase. I had given this to my stepmom at one point that she wanted to try some makeup, and I didn't really feel like I liked it that well, and so I had given it to her, but I repurchased it and I like it better now than I recall liking it before. So who knows, you know, things change, people change, thoughts change. It's all good. And then lastly, for affordable bronzers, I have this one from Kiko Milano. This is the Sicilian Notes Baked Bronzer in the shade 02 Bronze Melange. This has a very strong smell, as do most of their products. So if you are not into makeup that has a scent, I would stay far, far away from the brand. But I love this shade. It's definitely got a really beautiful red tone to this, and that is definitely the money for me when it comes to bronzers. So I'll be keeping this one as well. So those are my 8 affordable bronzers, and I'm keeping them all. Before we get into the less affordable single bronzers, I'm going to go into these 2 big ones and these 2 little palettes, I guess. The first one is the Marc Jacobs Omega Coconut Perfect Tan Bronzer in the shade 104 Tantastic. This is the lighter of the 2 in this packaging, and definitely in my top 3 of bronzers. It's smooth and builds beautifully, blends beautifully, but it's also pigmented, and I just love it. And then I have this one from Charlotte Tilbury. This is her Airbrush Matte Bronzer in the shade 2 Medium. And I was very glad to get this year. This is a refillable compact, and I think that's pretty cool. This is actually more similar to the Marc Jacobs one than I thought it was, and I definitely prefer the Marc Jacobs, so food for thought there. But I'm definitely keeping them both. Then we have this one from Jouer. This is the Sunswept Bronzer Duo in the medium to deep colorway. So you have Sunset and Sunkissed. Yes, I think so. And they both have a little bit of a glowy aspect to them, and they look dark, even a little bit swatched, but they really aren't for my skin tone when comparing to the other bronzers I have. I definitely wear less of this deeper one, but I do tend to like mix these 2 together so that darker one does still get used. And then lastly, but not leastly, this is the Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow, again in the fair to medium colorway. You have this beautiful bronzy contour shade and the highlight. I'll swatch them both. Here is the contour shade and the highlighter. One of my favorite pieces in my collection, so definitely not going anywhere, but at least you can see how these all compare with each other now. Alright, here are all the rest of my higher end bronzers. Let's start with one I think I'm going to go ahead and let go of. This is the Bare Minerals bronzer, the Endless Summer bronzer in the shade Warmth. I thought at some point I might consider like panning this just to move it out of my collection, but I have so many beautiful bronzers that I actually love that I don't feel like I want to at this point, if I'm being honest. So I think I'm going to go ahead and let go of this. Someone else might like this, maybe for a travel bag if we ever get to do this again. But, you know, regardless, I don't need to keep it. There's one more that I'm thinking about getting rid of, so let's go ahead and swatch it. This is the other one I'm considering letting go of. This is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer in the shade Radiant Bronze Light. I've always felt like this was too warm for me, which is why I want to go ahead and swatch it now and compare it against some of my other favorite bronzers. So I'm going to put this up to the side here and we'll revisit that at the end. This is the Balm Take Home the Bronze in the shade Oliver, and I love this bronzer. It's such a really nice formula. You can see why a lot of people, it's kind of like their standby. It's a really nice, not neutral, but not overly warm either. It is called the anti-orange bronzer here on the packaging, so I'm definitely not going to let this one go, but it is a contender. I would consider working on hitting pan on this one this year because it seems like it would probably be pretty easy to do so. Next is one of the only bronzers I have pan in besides the number 7, and this is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Park Ave Princess bronzer. And you know, it's a nice bronzer. Maybe this is one I just consider going ahead and using up this year instead of the Bare Minerals one. I do have that goal set for myself that I'd like to use up at least one blush, bronzer, and highlight this year. So I do think I'm going to keep this one for now. I do like it. It is, however, one of the older ones in my collection. So if I'm going to keep it, then I need to, you know, make use of it for sure. Next is this Natasha Denona Bronze and Glow, and I gotta admit, this is one of the products that I was a little bit disappointed in when I purchased it. I'm trying to open it the wrong way. Anyhow, but I do really like the bronzer in here. It's a nice rosy red based bronzer, but the highlighter in here is just way too dark for me at any time of the year. And so last year I had talked about just panning the bronzer and letting go of it after that. So again, that might be an option for this year. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it, think about it. If I decide not to go ahead and try and pan it, I might just declutter it because, you know, it's just sitting around. I like the bronzer, don't like the highlighter, and don't necessarily love keeping things around just for one piece of the product, if that makes sense. So we'll see what 2021 brings for this one. A definite favorite for 2020 was this one from Clinique. This is their Powder Pop Flower Bronzer in the shade Solar Pop, and this was by far one of my favorites. I mean, you can see all the area I've worn off the embossing of the flowers on. I used the crap out of this one last year, and for good reason. It's so pretty. And comparing it to the Hourglass one, it's not super different. I don't know. Regardless, definitely keeping this one. I freaking love this bronzer and definitely highly recommend it. All right, we're down to 3. Next we have the Ofra and Samantha March River Bronzer Duo, and I do really like this. I do, however, have to be careful with this one. It has kick up like nobody's business, which is, if I'm being honest, a little bit annoying, but also it can get really, it can get really dark and hard to blend if I'm not careful. I don't know, does anybody else have that issue with the River Bronzer, that it's super kick-uppy? Because sometimes I feel like that's what keeps me from using it as much as I would ordinarily. But regardless, I'm definitely keeping it. I was so excited to get it, and I just need to make more use of it this year. And then there were 2. This is the newest bronzer to my collection. It's the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer in Diffused Bronze Light. And this is the perfect shade for me. You're gonna see here it airs much more towards my style of bronzer, which is more on the neutral side versus, you know, super duper warm. It's right here. I'm running out of room, so I thought I'd swatch it up here, but I love this one. It looks like it wouldn't be anywhere near dark enough for me in the pan, but it really is. I bit the bullet and bought the big one, which is another reason I'm considering letting go of that Hourglass one, the mini one. And then lastly, this is the Nabla Skin Bronzing Sunkissed Effect Bronzing Powder in the shade Soft Revenge. And this is another one that is more neutral leaning cool tone versus a lot of my other bronzers. So here are all of my high-end bronzers. All right, so we are definitely getting rid of the Bare Minerals bronzer, but we've come back full circle to this one. And here's the honest truth about this one. I have had this bronzer since, I believe, my first year of YouTube, and I'm on my third year now, fourth year? I don't know. I think I just completed 3 years. The point being, this is a really old bronzer for me, and I'm consistently not reaching for it. When I look at it, my only thought in my mind is either to pan it to use it up and get the use out of it, but at the same time, then I'm not using these other bronzers that I actually love. And I wonder if my bestie Jess might not like this one. She loves bronzer, not huge on makeup, but I think this might be a nice little something for her to try. It's small, so it wouldn't take up much room. So I do think I'm going to do the big girl thing and let go of this Hourglass mini bronzer, as well as the Bare Minerals pressed bronzer in Warmth. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing it. So I am getting rid of 2 and keeping 26 bronzers. It is what it is, right? I hope you guys enjoyed my bronzer collection today. Let me know down below, what's your favorite bronzer? How many do you have? Tell me all about your bronzers, and I will see you in the next collection video.